Okay, and this is part 3 of avoiding pitfalls and living for God in your singleness and Christians dating the right way and all that other good stuff, all this good old information that you're getting, that if you didn't get it before, if you didn't have a big sister before, if you didn't have a mentor before, if you didn't have a regular old person before to tell you, now you got somebody to tell you how to do it right. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Alright, so we left off just talking about how we are in the world, but we're not of the world. And the way that we date, the way that we do things, the motives behind, ladies, our clothes and our makeup, our intentions should be different. Our mindsets should be different, especially in going in the house of God. When we go into the house of God, yes, it's good, we want a husband. Yes, men of God, when we go, we want a wife or whatever, but that's not what we go to church for. We don't go to church to single out or signal out or, you know, get a radar on the men, on the woman. Even when you're getting dressed, I don't know why this is supposed to be about something else, but I'm just going to go where it's leading me. When we get ready, woman of God and men of God, for church, it should be just a mindset that, God, I'm going to meet you there. Even when I'm just doing my face or doing everything, I'm not thinking about, I'm going to some party or something, or, oh, it's got to be perfect because such and such going to, see me and I got to be on point, or, it's not about that. So we have to check our motives. And if you think that your eyeliner is going to interfere with you crying out to God, then maybe you don't need to wear the mascara. Maybe you don't need to wear the eyelash. Maybe you don't need to wear the liquid eyeline or whatever like that. Because our heart should be open to receiving what God has for us. And like I said, it's not all about the outer appearance. What God has for you, He has for you. Yes, keep yourself up or whatever like that. But the man of God is looking, a true man of God is looking for way more than just what you have to offer in between your legs. He's looking for more than what's on the outside of you. A man of God does not want a woman with a potty mouth. A man of God does not want a woman who is bitter and still hung up over the last bad relationship. You need to allow God to give you time to heal you. I see so many people, just being careless in the house of God, just dating and getting together and having sex, casually, like it's all good. Like, you don't have to come in and you wonder why the atmosphere is all tore up, and you wonder why this sister is on one side of the church not talking to this sister on the other side of the church, because y'all two share the same man or had the same man, or he was seeing this one last week, now all of a sudden he got Sister Susie. This is type of stuff that's supposed to happen, that happens in the world. It's not supposed to be going on in the house of God. We have to be more careful, more mindful of what we're doing and how we're doing it, because people are watching us. People are losing respect for Christians. They're sitting up there saying, it's no difference in them than me. Oh, I cuss, but I'm a Christian. I know God. I do this, but I know God. I know God. They will roll their head and tell you in a second, I cuss, but I can pray up something. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about that. The world wants to see God. He doesn't want to see us. He doesn't want to see a personality. He doesn't want to see, someone doing the same thing that they are doing. They want to see somebody that's truly living, and somebody who is truly delivered, someone who is truly saved, someone who is truly standing and actually living this thing. Like I said, we're going to have struggles. We're going to have things till the day that we die, but we should not continuously go in this cycle of doing the same thing. We need to learn from our mistakes. We need to get in position so that God can truly use us, So we can truly say God is a deliverer. He can deliver you from being in the bed of men. He can deliver you from that potty mouth. He can deliver you from the cigarettes or the weed that you used to smoke, or the heroin that you used to do, or the prostituting. You know, he can save, he can heal, and he can and he will deliver if you just trust him, if you obey him. And he needs willing vessels that are going to deny themselves, deny their flesh, desire the things that this flesh desires, to live a holy life, to say that you can do it. Yes, I'm 30 years old now. And when I came back to the Lord, I believe I was 23 or 24. And ever since then, you know, it's been some times where I fell, where I had to get back up, and I learned from the mistakes, and I said, okay, God, this time I'm going to do it your way. Whatever you placed in my spirit to do, I'm going to do it, because my main focus was, I'm not trying to live right to get something from you. I'm not trying to live right to get a husband. I'm not trying to live right to get a house. I'm not trying to live right to get finances, but I want to live right because I want to please you. I want to make you proud. I want to be one of those people I want to be a young woman saying that I love God and I'm standing for God, and I'm going to show other young women that you can live a holy life, that you can come out of whatever it is that you are in, no matter what situation you were born into, that you can be delivered, that you can set free, that you can live a holy life, that you do not have to accept anything. The enemy is telling you that there's no more godly men left. The enemy is telling you it'll never happen for you. You'll never get married. You're stuck. You have children. You're going to be an old maid. It's all kind of things that he tries to have run through your mind. But you have to denounce those things. You have to say, that's not for me, because if God created me, you know, I don't care what they talking about, oh, the ratio is, you know, however many men to whatever many women. But if God saved you, if God delivered you, and he cleaned you up for somebody. And somewhere he has that man or he has that woman hidden. So the thing isn't whether you're going to ever get married or not, or whether you're ever going to have children or not, or if you're ever going to find someone to love you and your children the way that you want to be loved and you wanted to be treated. The thing is, get in God's face, get in God's presence, seek him, pray, fast, turn down your plate, let go of, and when you're praying and when you're fasting, because a lot of people, some people are like, how do you do it? I don't know, you know, what are the things or whatever like that. And everyone has their own way of fasting, but when you're fasting for food. You can't be eating and saying, oh, my fast was, I fasted from Facebook today, or oh, I fasted from YouTube. Fasting means to not eat food. It's to fast from food. And also when you're fasting, it's pointless to fast and still turn on 92Q. Or 95.9 or whatever secular station it is in your state, in your city, in your country. You know, because you want the things of God. If you're fasting, you're talking to him, you don't want nothing that is not godly in your spirit. You know, you're going to turn your plate down. You're actually going to pray. You can't just go through the whole day without eating and say, oh yeah, I fast. You know, you're going to have to take that time to pray, to set yourself aside, to read his word, to meditate, to listen to gospel, spiritual, whatever, if it's contemporary, if it's, you know, upbeat, whatever it is, anything talking about God, Jesus, encouragement, all that good stuff, you know. And it's important to talk to him, to develop that prayer life. And when you want to operate out of the norm and you want to get into the realm of the miraculous, you want for God to use you in an unconditional way, you want him to set you aside from everybody else. You have to turn that plate down. You have to pray. You have to fast, because that's where you're going to find answers. That's where God is birthing your ministry, birthing things in you. Like I said before, I've seen God make ways out of no way because we turned our plate down, because we fast, because we prayed, because we wanted to be, my husband and I, we wanted to be in God's will. And I didn't start doing it when he sent me my husband. I did this as a single woman. It's important to develop that relationship, man or woman of God, in your singleness, because you're going to need everything that you get in your singleness in your marriage. You're going to need it. You are going to need it, because the enemy is going to be coming at you, coming at him, coming at her, and you both need to be strong in the Lord, not in yourself. You know, it's okay to have prayer partners and friends that you can go to and connect to, but your husband or your wife, your spouse, should be that main person that you can go to and get a prayer through with God. And say, I can go to my husband and I don't even have to go to the altar. I can go to him and pray and lift my hands, because I know his life. He lives a clean life before God, and I can just lift my hands and be like, babe, I need you to pray for me. I need you to touch and agree, you know, on this job or on this, you know, next thing that I'm looking to do in ministry. You should be able to do that with your spouse. You know, that's why God gave them. That's why God gave them to you. You know, when you're in a relationship with somebody and you feel like you need somebody different to help you touch and agree, you know, or you feel like, oh, you know, I didn't really get any relief with her or with him, you know, let me go ask, you know, this other person. You know, you all should have a prayer life that you're birthing together. Even after you get married, having your time staying, keeping your relationship with God, your prayer life is imperative. And then you and your spouse praying together is imperative as well. But it starts in your singleness. Don't think that you're not going to pray the whole time and talk to God the whole time, and think that when you get married, you know, oh God, that's when I'll get on track. That's when, you know, I'll start, you know, praying, because prayer gives you strength. Anything can take you out. I'm telling you, the enemy has some things up his sleeve that he will want to do, but it's only through prayer. And the Word of God says some things come out by prayer and fasting, and it's going to take that to give you the strength to deal with all the things that are going to come in your way, period, in life. So you just got to stay prayed up. It's not a choice. It's not a choice. Okay. Also, men and women of God, when you are seeking God in reference to a spouse, and you're saying, you know, I want to be married, and, you know, God, I'm seeking you, I'm asking you or whatever, but what do I do in the meantime while I'm waiting? You know, stay busy. Stay busy doing what you were doing, and don't lose that when they come. Don't sit up there and have the zeal and aspire and be going forth and gone, and then when they come, you slack up. That's why it's important to develop that relationship with God, that prayer life with God before they come, and stay with it, because that's what's going to keep you all. That's going to keep you all set apart from everybody else. God desires for us all to be unique, for Him to use us in all and in every way possible that He wants to use us. You don't have to mimic anybody else's ministry, anybody else's relationship. God has His own testimony that He wants to give you. Stay busy. Get with the youth teams at your church. If you don't have one, go to your pastor about starting one. Do things, you know, to keep you busy outside of church. Connect with people who are headed in the same direction as you are. Those that are trying to live right, those that are trying to live a holy life. Single woman, you know, married woman, you know, you should open up yourself to single women as well, because they need to know, they need to learn from you. I don't know where they got this thing, the single woman need to stick with single woman and married woman need to stick from married woman that's straight from the pit of hell. I don't know what that is for in the world, but in the kingdom, we're supposed to be the ones to teach you all. You can't be so insecure, thinking that, oh, somebody, wants your man, somebody trying to talk to your man. They should be able to look at us and see our marriages as an example where they can come to us, where they can ask us questions, where they can see, how is it when they start courting someone, they can sit up there and say, okay, this is what they told me that I should do. And you can be accountable for another couple. You can pray for other couples. You can intercede for other couples. And you can tell them, because just because you're married, like I'm saying, you weren't always married, you were once single. And if you did do things the right way, and if you do have a testimony that you can share, then you need to share with, with the singles. Take them out to dinner with you and your husband so they can see how a husband and a wife is supposed to a saved couple is supposed to act. Some of you are afraid because you're cussing each other out behind closed doors. Ooh. Did I say that? Yes, she did. Yeah. Okay? But if you're living a godly life, let them see that. I'm not saying, take a bunch of single women up in your house or a bunch of single men up in your house or whatever like that. Sometimes, in certain cases, you do have to be, careful because some people, need deliverance. But, mainly what I'm saying is, don't just shut the singles out and, be like, oh, we need to just only hang with people that are married now. That's the group we're in. Yes, there's a time and a place for everything. You have your time where you go out with your married friends or whatever. You have a lot of things in common, but still don't forget to pour into those that are single, that are waiting. Encourage them to continue to wait on God. And you don't have to make marriage seem so bad. And some singles that are bitter, because marriage, you're so pressed to get married, and it's people up here cheating, and it is people, they come to church looking happy, and they arguing all the way. Everybody isn't like that, and we have to let them know everybody is not portraying this happy, face. Some of us are really happy. It's not a put on. And that's, and a lot of things are jacked up because some aren't doing it the right way before they go down the aisle. You think, oh, it's no harm, we're engaged, I have the ring, we get a little, something on the side, we sleep with each other, here and there, we're about to get married anyway. No, that's not God's way, especially being as though you have some things that God wants to do for you and your life. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to mess that up. You don't want to, go into a godly covenant, and just sleeping with them. You can't wait. You can't wait that 6 months or that 3 weeks or that 2 days. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to respect the woman of God. You have to respect the man of God enough to say, I don't want to ever be the reason you're in bondage. That's how much love you had to be. If you know what it took for you to come out of bondage, if you know what it took for you to stop sleeping around, if you know what it took for you to stop being addicted to that alcohol or whatever it is like that, or that sexual addiction, the person that you love and the person that you're looking to spend the rest of your life with, I don't ever want to be a part of that bondage. I don't ever want to be in a category of the woman that you slept with before you got married. Because if God was to come today or tomorrow, you would open your eyes up in a very dark place. So I never want to be the reason why you fall. I love you that much that I will deny my flesh that if I'm feeling a little some kind of way. It's a shirt, y'all, not a, because she talking about God, but she's showing her shoulders. If you feeling some kind of way, you need to say, I can't see you today. I know, we're engaged and I love you, but it's getting close to the date and I'm just feeling a little bothered and hot and, on fire for you. So I'm going to have to sit this one out today. and just be real, because you want to cover your brother and your sister. And yes, my husband did that. It was times where I was so tired I did not feel like driving home, and I'd be like, Tony, can I sleep on the floor downstairs? Because I'm tired. Nicole, it's 9 o'clock. You'll be fine. I'll stay on the phone the whole time. I'll talk to you till you get in the house. Maybe, when you come over tomorrow, you're going to have to leave at 7 or at 6. Or maybe you don't need to come at all tomorrow. And I wasn't trying to lay in his bed. I'm trying to lay on the floor. But that made me respect him so much more. And that's what I talked about, coming up to another level. Because before, I had to avoid those pitfalls on their own. And I was dealing with men that were unsaved. Or I was dealing with a man that was saved. But I had to tell them all the time, no, we can't do this. And no, we shouldn't do this. And now, here I have a man of God watching out for my soul as well as his, telling me, no, you can't even sleep on my floor downstairs, and my room is upstairs and in the back. You can't be nowhere in here. It's not about church people seeing you. It's not about the pastor seeing you. It's about the fact that God still see you. Remember, we go back to part 1 and part 2. Many things are permissible, but you don't want to put yourself in a compromising situation. You don't want to get comfortable where you feel like, oh, I stayed the last time. Why don't I stay again? And when you do it right, and woman of God, when you get a man of God, a true man of God, he will help you as well. Men of God, when you get a true woman of God, she will help you as well. And I stood up there and I said, I have to respect that. That's the same thing that I'm trying to tell other people. And, I wasn't trying to make him fall or anything like that. But I had to respect that. You know what I'm saying? I can't sleep on the floor. You're right. I need to just go ahead and drive. And if I get tired, I'll make sure that, I just got to get out. And that's a blessing. And that's why we went to that altar without knowing each other. And that's why we didn't know each other until after the honeymoon. Because I stood up there and said, and we made a promise, I'm not going to be the one to cause you to be in trouble with God. Those were those other men. Those were those other women that you may have dealt with before in the past. But that's not going to be me. I have been the woman that caused someone to fall before. I'm not going to be in that situation, not with the man that I'm supposed to walk down the aisle with. But I'm coming to you with part 4 and prayerfully.